So when you played these guys a couple of weeks ago, special teams kind of decided that game. It feels like tonight penalty kills a big responsibility for getting the win too.
Yeah. Penalty kill was really good after that first kill. I thought we made a good adjustment, and and did a better job limiting their A chances. When you're killing too many penalties, obviously. So that's a hard team to beat anyway, and then you put them in the power play 6-7 times, really hard to beat. So we had some big time block shots. Bryson's one late in the second really stands out in my head. But we had a lot of big block shots tonight. Murphy late in the third. And obviously always your best penalty killer is your goaltender. And I thought Comrie was really good tonight.
Yaps was really good on the PK too. Andy gets a goal, and it's been a while. He's one of this team's top producers. To go quiet for a little bit, it had to be nice for you to see him get rewarded.
Yeah. It was good to see Yabo. He means a ton to this group. He has for the last 2.5 years, and through ups and downs and injuries, and unfortunately we had to trade him at one point and bring him back. And he's a glue guy. He's a guy that I trust and believe in, and so do his teammates.
Talk about Connor being your best PK guy. He hasn't started a game in a month. That's not easy, and to do so against one of the better teams in the American League. What did you think of him?
I thought he was really solid. I thought he made the game simple for himself, and then therefore it then becomes simple for us. Rebound control, things of that nature. They play, they're a very aggressive offensive team, and it can lead to some chaotic situations, and he kept the chaos to a minimum. Him being so ready, first game in a month, it's just a credit to his work ethic, which is just impeccably high. Everybody raves about the kind of work he puts in and how much time he puts into his game. And that's the only way you can be ready when you've been off that long, is to take a lot of pride in the work you do.
As for how the game ended, obviously we sit so much farther behind you, and that hit happened in front of you. In your words, how did that go down?
Oh, it was an egregiously dirty hit. Those are the hits we need out of our game. Yapst was vulnerable, away from the wall, driven headfirst into the boards. They called it a 5, so it was the right call. And, we'll see if the league suspends him or not. But what I loved is I loved seeing like Isak Rozan, who's, young forward, no hesitation, jump right in there. Jeremy Davies as well, but and stick up for their teammate. And, that's what we've had over the last couple of years, and we're trying to build towards that as well. As we've had a team toughness. We don't have a fighter per se, but we've had a team toughness, that a one goal, all goal mentality, that we're going to be there for each other. We're going to have each other's back. And when you do those things, when you see one of your most talented players, one of your top prospects who's only 20 years old do those things, it gives you a lot of confidence and strength, that as a player, if something happens, I got my teammates are going to have my back.
How do you feel about Ethan Krau's presence in this return?
Oh man, we miss him. He's just so calm. He makes the game easy on us. He moves the puck so efficiently. He's a really smart puck mover, and obviously with the time away, also the surgery to repair an injury, his skating just looked so much more efficient tonight than it did earlier in the season or at the end of last season when he was, hobbling to stay in the playoff lineup.
Well, Yoff didn't play the last game. Pretty rare to take that guy out of the lineup. I know you weren't there, but what went into that thinking?
I think he got healthy scratch 9 times last year. So.
When was the last one?
Probably early mid last year, yeah.
So it had been you say early this year too. Yep. I think you had 18, 24 or whatever, so you had to get guys in. But is it a wake up call? Is it a
sometimes I don't know if wake up call is the right word. I didn't think he hasn't been at his best, and he's been on the wrong end of with pucks going in our net at times. Not always his fault. I thought, that the turnover he had against Hershey at a critical time in the game was a play that you just can't have from one of your go-to players, one of your older players, in a 2-2 game against the best team in the league, with 5 minutes to go in the game, over the last month, I think we've played really good hockey, way better team defense and things like that, but we've found ways to lose some games, and some of it is decisions like that, or taking a penalty at the wrong time late in the third period, things of that nature, where you waste a whole team's effort of really hard work. Get that game in overtime against Hershey, and who knows what happens, right? So, it's not just one play, but sometimes for a player to have a reset, and to take a night is kind of just clears the cobwebs, and they come out with a little more purpose and a little more vigor the next game.
And I think you had talked about it last game before that, but Neuchef, it's been close, and it's been coming, and certainly the line he's on tonight, he's going to get more chances, and gets a chance to bury it.
Yeah, it was a very good goal. I was happy to see it. We've seen so many good things out of him the last 6 to 8 weeks in practice every day, in the weight room, how hard he's working, how much time he's putting into his craft. It's funny, I read a quote from Yuri Kulik today, talking about all the time he spends in the shooting room with his buddy, Isak Rozan. His best buddy. And it reminded me of Quinter and JJ, right? But Neutsch is doing those things right now. Neutsch is bought into the process to become what it's going to take to become a really good hockey player in North America. He is here very early. He's one of the last guys to leave. He was on the ice shooting on Devin Cooley the other day, probably 2 hours into practice time. So an hour and 15 minutes of practice, another 45 minutes, he's still out there working. And it's not rocket science. Usually players get better and they get rewarded when they invest that much time into themselves. And you see it over and over. And some players are resistant to it for one reason or another. And credit to Victor. We had a pretty hard beating with him 6 to 8 weeks ago, and his response has been exceptional.
Recent pass, not everybody can make that pass, the backhand to the spring, but sort of like we got getting used to with him.
Well,
You couldn't make that kind of pass like off the boards.
What pass are we talking about?
One of the breakaway goals comes off.
Rusek?
Yeah, Rusek.
I'm never surprised about a pass Rusek makes. I'm never. Sometimes he surprises me when he shoots, pleasantly surprises me. I get pleasantly surprised when he shoots. And I try to celebrate it to make sure that he understands that he's a goal scorer as well. But if I'm a line mate or I'm on the ice with Lukáš Rusek, I'm going to be ready at all times, because he's going to be able to find me at times that very few people on the ice are going to be able to find you.
Is Neuchef playing with Roseanne and Jost? Is that a reward for what he has done?
Sure, absolutely. It's an earned reward.
That's what I mean.
It's not a given, and we talked about this with the team this week. We got a lot of players right now, probably too many. But iron sharpens iron, and competition makes people dig in and work harder and go harder in practice and challenge themselves to be better. And it breaks some people as well. And that is what it is. But this is high level athletics, and that's going to happen. But we challenged our guys this week, not in a negative way of like try to go run each other in practice. It's not that. It's just like, you want more ice time, or you want to be in the lineup more right now, like go out there and practice and be better than other people. Execute the team play better, win more puck battles, be more competitive, win more small ice games, make more plays in practice, put more time into your game after practice. And some of development is giving some young players opportunities to make sure they have ice time. Some of development is holding their feet to the fire and making sure they're earning those opportunities.
When you were talking about the AHL's elite goalies recently, Jack Grease was a name that popped up, and then tonight, really back-to-back one-on-one wins against against him. How nice to see was that?
Yeah, because he'd made a huge save on Novikov and on Davies. I think Novikov's was 1-1 and Davies was 2-1, where he made high-end saves. And so you're like, oh boy, it's gonna be tough to beat him tonight. So obviously Jobst and Neutsch, made two excellent moves to finish those plays off.
Any idea when Yuri will be back in the building?
Well, first of all, congrats to Yuri. What an exceptional tournament. To lead his team to the second year in a row of earning a medal. That's the first time they've done that in over 2 decades. He got 12 points in 7 games and just the pressure of having the C on and having to deliver in those moments. So exactly why we encouraged him to accept the invitation. So incredibly proud of Yuri. I'd imagine he's enjoying the bronze medal this evening. And probably flying back to Rochester in the next day or two and anticipate him being in the lineup next weekend.